Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Vestal. I'm the licensed acupuncturist at Red Dragon Wellness Center. And tonight we're going to talk about some creepy stuff, which is what we're going to spend October talking about, is all of the creepy, scary, weird things that I get to help people with. All right. So today we're talking about, or this is the first episode in a two-part series that's going to be split. Talking about parasites. So first off, who has parasites? Most of us would think that no one we know would have parasites. But in the United States, we really haven't treated ourselves for parasites for a few decades. And because of that, we've got a lot. There's a gentleman called Dr. Todd Watts, who is he's called the parasite guy in alternative medicine communities. And he has a very advanced test to see if someone has parasites. He feels their pulse. You have a pulse, you have a heartbeat, you are currently alive. Okay, you have parasites. It sounds ridiculous, but most of us have parasites. Have you ever sat on the ground? We can get parasites that way. Have you eaten undercooked meat? You can get parasites that way. Have you eaten sushi? You can get parasites that way. Guess what? I'm not going to stop eating sushi. Have you had your pet lick your face? Well, yes. My dog has frequently licked my face and sometimes even licked in my mouth because that's who my dog is, apparently. Have you ever gone out for a picnic or a bonfire and touched the dirt and then eaten? Have you ever played in the dirt? All of these things can give us parasites, and all of these things are things that we do fairly frequently, especially in the earlier years of our lives. So unless you have been treated for parasites, it is likely that you have parasites. So everyone has parasites. Now I'm going to share some pictures. A few years ago, decided after I had been to China that I felt off. I wanted to see if I had parasites, and so I got connected with Cellcore Biosciences, who does supplements that were originally designed specifically for limeys, but they are also used for a number of other issues. And so a number of years ago, I heard about their parasite medication called Para-1. And I was like, well, let me just see. Let me try. And at that time, I pulled out one, if not two, what I think were 6-foot tapeworms. Because most of us should not have something that comes out 5 to 6 feet long that has been in our body. And so my first assumption, my really only assumption, was that it was a tapeworm. So back when we were dealing with deworming humans, most people would get dewormed twice a year when they deworm their animals on the farm. So that would have been spring and fall. So we're actually coming up on one of our deworming times, which is for me super exciting. So the last, not this past full moon, but the one before, I got that Para-1 again from Cellcore Biosciences, and I used it. And after I used it, I realized that my body odor had increased. Like my body just didn't feel right. I wasn't sleeping as well. And so I looked more into their protocol, and it was a protocol that I've already become a part of. And I realized that my body is not draining properly. And so I am, in between this video talking about parasites and my next video talking about parasites, I'm actually going to get on their foundational protocol and see how it affects me and affects my body before I do Para-1 again, so that I can know that my body is properly draining. So for those of you checking into the creepy and gross, I would assume, probably safely, that you know that there are going to be some creepy and gross pictures. I like to warn people first, though. So what I'm about to show you are actual pictures that I took after starting Para-1 this previous time. After I would have my morning bowel movement, I took a skewer, a nice, very long skewer, and I would fish around and see if I found anything. And so these are pictures of actual things that I pulled out of my own fecal samples, since it's been a few years since the last time I did a parasite cleanse. So yeah, this is kind of my proof that everyone has parasites. So this is the first day. After the first day, I pulled this loveliness out. Wrong way. This loveliness out. So ketchup packet is for scale. Those are, I think, a 4-inch and a 6-inch worm, I'm guessing. I think this round I had more round worms than anything else. So that was the second day after I got that lovely mess. The third day after got a tad bit more exciting, and I pulled all those lovelies out. So long story short, everyone has parasites, most likely. And we should be doing what we can to get rid of them, because parasites can actually become a haven for bacteria, viruses, molds, heavy metals, and other such things in our body. So when we're dealing with Lyme disease, when we're dealing with chronic illnesses that have been around for a while, one of the first things we actually look at is parasites. And I'm not a doctor. I don't treat as a doctor, but I do listen to wisdom of doctors and incorporate it into my practice. And Dr. Jay Davidson and Dr. Todd Watts are two people who have really looked into Lyme disease and Lyme disease treatment and how we can help our patients feel better. And so I'm incorporating a lot of what they teach into my practice. So one of the things that they talk about through the Lyme disease summits is we start with the biggest size-wise issue and go down from there. So we start with the parasites, and then we deal with the bacteria, the mycoplasma, the viruses, the heavy metals, the molds, and the fungi, so that we're dealing with the issues that can literally hide other issues inside of them first. So as I mentioned, this month I'm going to be beginning their foundational protocol, just to help me feel better in my body, and so that I'm not recommending it to clients without trying it myself. So I'm going to be trying that out this month, and then before the full moon, because parasites get most active before the full moon. It's kind of why I think people get crazy around the full moon, is because their parasites start acting up. So we are going to, or at the end of this month, so Halloween is the next full moon. So the week before Halloween, I'm going to go on another parasite treatment cleanse. And we're going to see how doing the proper drainage ahead of time affects how well Para-1 works. So like I showed you, we pulled out some lovely parasites this time. And who knows, there could have been more in there, but that's just the ones we found, or I found. That was not a we. So if you are interested in finding out if you have parasites, which, as I mentioned before, you probably do, and you would like to get rid of them, let me know, and we will talk about what protocol would be best for you. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and hopefully I didn't spoil your appetite for dinner. Have a good night, y'all.